Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Kwakadash. I'm going to make this real quick because the first time I did the lesson on this, the audio didn't come through, but what you're seeing is ICE operations that are taking place. The most recent one was the one in Chicago yesterday. Bear with me. Cancel that upload. Where they detained migrants. And according to Stephen Miller, their goal is to detain, right here, it says their goal is to detain 3,000 migrants a day, right? It says Washington in mid-May, White House Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller, frustrated over what he saw as a number of arrests and deportation of unauthorized immigrants that were too low, B-rated, and threatened to fire senior immigration and custom enforcement officials if they did not begin detaining 3,000 migrants a day. So they basically have a quota, according to two sources who spoke to attendees, right? Let me jump down. Operation at Large, right? A nationwide ICE-led plan already underway to ramp up arrests of unauthorized immigrants, including more than 5,000 personnel from across federal law enforcement agencies and up to 21,000 National Guard troops. So the military is involved, right? So it would make this is martial law on a small scale. It just hasn't been declared as martial law. Because if they have 21,000 National Guard troops, you mean tell me that they're not making any arrests or dealing with any prisoners? So let me go back here real quick to the AI overview and comparisons of martial law and ICE enforcement. It says martial law and ICE enforcement are distinct but potentially intersecting concepts. And that's what you're seeing, because they're intersecting ICE and martial law. This is Jeremiah 31:7. Jacob's trouble, Daniel the 12th chapter, as well. But this is a shadow of things to come. Because it's only going to get worse. Like in Matthew the 24th chapter, where the disciple asked Yahweh Shah, how would they know when will the end be? And he named off the pestilence, the famines, the rumors of war, but all of these are the beginning of sorrows. And that's what you're seeing. Even Eve is being cut off. She feeling it, But I want to make this real quick because I don't have too much time left. Okay, it says military support for ICE can provide through specific laws like Title 10, right? But does not typically involve direct military participation in core law enforcement activities like arrests or seizures, right? And how do we know that for sure? Because yesterday with the Chicago raid, you can clear as day see that it was a photo op. ICE agents went down there to detain and arrest a lot of migrants, right? And then all of a sudden, all the news television stations are down as well, right? It says definition: martial law is a legal system in which military forces temporarily replace civilian authorities, typically during emergencies of time of war or civil unrest. Military leaders assume control over administrative function and civil liberties such as freedom of movement and speech may be suspended, right? And we see this freedom of speech being suspended through YouTube, and through the media. If you're not speaking, if you're not going with the elites narrative, right? They muzzle you. They shut you the fuck up, right? ICE is a federal law enforcement agency responsible for enforcing immigration and custom laws. ICE investigates and arrests individuals, immigration violation, conducts deportation, work to prevent transnational crimes, right? Okay, military support for ICE. While Title 10 of the U.S. Code allow for military support for civilian law enforcement agencies, it generally does not authorize direct participation in core law enforcement activities like arrests or searches. The National Guard can also be deployed under Title 32 to provide support for federal or joint state operations, including immigration enforcement. Right? And you have Stephen Miller saying that the quota needs to be 3 to 5,000 arrests a day, and it's 5,000 ICE agents. Let's make sure I got these numbers right. Slovakia. 5,000 personnel across federal law enforcement agencies and up to 21,000 National Guard troops, according to an operation plan described. So you mean to tell me those military troops are not involved in arrest or seizures? There's 21,000 of them, or detaining the prisoners. You know, So this is the beginning of troubles, man. You know, this is Second Ezra, the 15 and 16 chapter, because you also have people that are born in America with people that are born in America, but also are being threatened to be detained and shipped back to wherever their parents came from. You just had Trump to recently say, he will be deporting individuals whether they were born here or not. Under the ICE protocol. So with that, man, I pray you edify until next time. Shalom, Kwam Yasharala.